Yeah. At first I was like, I'm just gonna walk around a little bit, and then I saw you guys sitting in the window, and I was like,
oh, you saw?
This is great.
Yeah, it's where we binge watch The Office in between projects.
So I have that unique perspective though of like relating because it's very government heavy. Mm-hmm. So like the Parks and Rec stuff, like the portions where they're doing like the community meetings and all that stuff. And
very relatable.
Very relatable. That's the stuff to me that's like funny because it's so true.
So many different industries, like everybody can relate to certain kinds of bosses, certain kinds of coworkers. It's like no matter where you go, there's always that guy or that girl, like that person.
Those personalities don't change across.
It's weird. I was in the Marine Corps and I had people in the Marines that like when I got back into the civilian world, it was like, oh, it's just universal.
Yeah, literally.
There's just people are people.
Literally. Yeah. I mean, you're gonna have like your go-getters. You're gonna have the people that like to rise to the top really quickly. You're gonna have your worker bees and the people you don't want to do like group projects with. You know, it's literally it's all the same.
It's all the same, no matter what level you're at.
Exactly.
People are people, man.
Exactly.
That's so funny.
That's the lesson for today. People are people.
People gonna people.
So what you been up to? You came down here only for business, or what else you came down here for? Your mom's
family.
out here?
Yeah. My mom is in the area. This is home for me. So second home is DC, Northern Virginia area. Went to college there. So
where at?
That's George Mason.
Hey.
Yeah, George
My
Mason.
grandmother was the assistant to the dean at George Mason for like almost 40 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
it's
she
really
loved George Mason.
It's grown so much since I was even there just like 3-4 years ago. So it's kind of crazy how that happens too. But yeah, so this area is home and just, always dual purpose. So spending some time with family, but also, grinding.
Yeah. What are you doing in DC? What's in DC?
DC, well, honestly, I would have so much more to tell you, but COVID is really preventing me from being great.
No joke, man. You ain't
but
lying.
it's interesting just trying to figure out how to pivot and continuing to push, your vision forward despite like circumstances. That's really the bulk of what I've been doing. So doing my best to like social distance and stay home, but still making sure that, I'm making connections. And it's also been interesting to see the shift in like networking because you can't go to events now. You can't, just kind of pull up on somebody. You literally have to call somebody and say, hey, do you know so-and-so? Or like, are you familiar with anybody here? And
We've heard that word a lot, pivot. Everybody's had a pivot.
Yeah. You have to pivot. So it's been, pivot, baby. I've actually been connecting with people more during this time. Like having to pick up the phone and call and email and all that stuff. So it's
kind of like a reoccurring theme.
It's like a lot of video chats and stuff. And it works. It's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting to see the people. We'll see now if like the older generations will still be like, come back to the office and stay here. It's like, we've been making it work for 6 months. What's the problem?
You know what's funny though? I have heard so many people, and I don't know if they do it just because like they don't really know anything else to say, but you know how you have the pleasantries when you're meeting somebody new or whatever? They'll be like, oh, I can't wait till we have an opportunity to like meet in person again. And I'm like,
we did already, man.
Or like, not really. Like, it's okay. We can do this too.
We joke about the pleasantries all the time. Yeah. We got nothing to say.
Yeah, no.
I guess we got nothing to say.
When right off top, they start telling you about the weather. And they tell you, nothing interesting. Like, hey, so first things first, how about that weather? I'm like, yo.
Yeah, it happened recently. Yeah.
This could be a terrible night, man.
Before we even begin, let's talk about the weather.
Starting off on the wrong foot.
We had a few shoots where it was just like, so how about that weather? I'm like,
anyway.
We're seeing the
nothing,
same sky.
man. Nothing. You did nothing yesterday.
Man. Yeah, we're seeing the same sky.
It's the same sky. Yeah, no.
There's your title. Like, we're seeing the same sky, man.
That's
it is. Malaika got the title for it.
There it is. Malaika came with it this week. Fantastic.
I tried.
So Malaika, how did you even end up in Norfolk? So I met you over there, and you played a huge part of me getting over there. I thanked you a billion times. I thank you again. This is huge help, man. But how'd you get to Norfolk? I never even got to talk to you about that because you kind of left like it's kind of I shooed you out of there or something. Like what happened?
As soon as I worked
with Malaika like 6 months and then she bounced.
You know what it was? I was like, they're in great hands. They have Tony. They don't need me anymore.
That's a real pivot right there.
No, but you don't thank me for that opportunity because you earned it. I'm telling you, like you came into the interview process and you left us and we were like, he's our guy. Like legit, we had those and you just know, like you were authentic. You were a straight shooter. You knew your stuff, and honestly, like no employee can ask for a better thing. And so you earned that completely. But I ended up in Norfolk because I went through the basically like emerging leaders program, which is basically when they pull in the high school and college students to come and intern with the city of Norfolk. So I ended up going through the college program, and so I was with that cohort, and so that's how I ended up meeting Lori, who was our boss for a time, or mine for a time anyway. And so I interned directly with her, and I did that for the entire summer. So it was like 3 or 4 months of me just working with Lori. So you can imagine how fun she is with a group of people. Just her was like, I learned so much, and I attribute so much of so much of what I've been able to do and flourish in my career is due to what I learned during my time there. So that's how it started, because then I left, went to college, did some more internships, came back, and my immediate goal was to jump right back into things with the city. So luckily it worked out.
That's really cool about that program, and there's a plug for that program right there. It works.
Yeah, I don't know that it's funny because I don't know that Virginia Beach has anything like that. I'm not saying they don't, but I don't know that they do.
Right? As we call emerging leaders?
Yeah, Norfolk NELS, they call them, like the Norfolk Emerging Leaders Program. And it's crazy because they get them, like if you can intern in one of the positions, you have a very high chance of just that being your job.
Wow.
So if Virginia Beach does it, I don't know, but Norfolk,
I'm sure they have something.
For somebody that spent so much time in Virginia Beach, we talk about this all the time, Norfolk gets a terrible rap. And it's like, go over there, go hang out over there, go get involved because they have a lot more going on than you would ever think.
They do. You just don't know.
It's crazy. Like the culture out there, the vibe out there. It's really like, if we talked about it before, I've mentioned it more. So it's like, if we had an infinite amount of money, like that's where I would want the business to be is in Norfolk.
Yeah.
Like the vibe that's out there creatively and the people and the young generation that's out there trying to make moves.
They're doing a lot to try to just reinvigorate the city and move forward, the future, you know what I mean? And ever since you started there, that's been the theme. You've been telling me, it's like, dude, don't sleep on Norfolk. That's what I always hear. Don't sleep on Norfolk, man. It's crazy over there.
Yeah,
it's really
to
cool.
live over there, to do business, everything. Like
literally.
It's going to change. You know, the next 10 years is going to be crazy. Like the whole St. Paul's project, even though it's like polarizing because, you know, some people might be displaced or whatever, but the end result, it has a lot of potential to like raise Norfolk up. Like, and it's crazy what's going on over there. I think they got good leadership, and everybody I've seen over there in City Hall, like they do great work. They seem good. So.
Well, they have you again. You're the game changer. That's funny. You are the game changer.
So what did you do while you were at Norfolk?
So while I was at Norfolk, I pretty much did a little bit of everything. I'm sure you can attest to that, Tony. So it would be anywhere from jumping on shoots with Tony, Andrew, who is a good friend of ours and colleague of Tony's. He does photography. Tony does bread and butter videography, of course. So I would jump in with them and just kind of tag along. I had a portfolio that included several different departments and then Norfolk Public Schools. And so the departments included Department of Transit, Public Works, neighborhood development. So I had kind of the forward-facing departments that were very resident-focused, which I loved. Because to me, what I love about my career in PR is just being able to connect with people.
Right.
And so that was a lot of what I did. And so it was helping them lead campaigns. The statewide Know Your Zone campaign, I led that. That was like the first 6 months that I was in Norfolk. That was the campaign that
I remember that
tossed down. So I did that, and so it's just strategic work. We also did Inside Scoop. So Andrew was the host for that. I ended up co-hosting and then producing. So literally a little bit of everything. But those are the types of careers when you're young that you want.
Right.
You know, you literally get to kind of stick your foot and
stretch out a little bit.
Stick your toe in anything. Try different
or your
things.
Foot. You're gonna put your foot, put your entire
just
lower
put your whole foot
into it. For real.
Just being able to spread out a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, and see what you like. You know?
And that has literally helped me get to exactly where I am right now.
And where is that?
Isn't that a beautiful segue?
There it is.
So
like you've done this before, man.
I have my own public relations boutique. It's full service, and I like to call it a boutique because the experience that we want you to have when you work with us is that it's intimate, it's authentic, that we really care about your business, your brand, your product, who you are as a business owner. And sometimes, you know, when you think about firms or you think about these big organizations, I think about getting lost in the shuffle. And so boutique kind of spells we care about you. And so our services are marketing, event planning. Our bread and butter is creative services. So that includes, graphic design, videography, photography. This is a great plug for you all. That's what we're doing. And we also do consulting work. And so it's bringing on clients and hearing what their vision is and figuring out how we can work with them to, as I like to call it, fill in the gaps. So, you all are the experts. We just come in and figure out how to make it better.
That's awesome, man.
It's funny. Like, I told Matt behind the scenes, and I'll tell you face to face, said when it comes to this business thing, like Malaika's starting her business, and I worked with her for 6 months, and I can tell you she has the personality and the skill set to do it.
Well, thank
I was
you.
like, we'll see if, because you're going to be tested.
Yeah.
With this whole, like, you're going to get a lot of no's. And I was like, and you have the personality and the skills to do it, and you got the drive to do it, and you're the right person to do it. I told Matt, I was like, she has the ability to walk into a room and kind of take control, know what's going on.
I appreciate that.
And that's something I saw, like, I respect like crazy from you. Like, I worked most with you when I was in Norfolk out of everybody else. And one thing you did versus everybody else, everybody has their strengths, but you would walk in and you were like, this is what the plan is. This is what the shots we're going to do. You guys are trying to achieve this. This is where we're going to put it. We're going to put it on Facebook because of this. The video is going to be this long because of that. And that's what you need when you're trying to quarterback like a whole production. And
I appreciate that.
I think you're going to go far. The test is, are you going to take those lumps and keep moving? We'll see.
Yeah.
I think you can. I think you can.
And you know what it is? I'll let you finish because that's
no, that was pretty much it. Like, that's what I was telling him behind the scenes for real. Like, I was like, I think she could do well, but we'll see, because everybody else goes through that struggle and a lot of people give up. And I haven't known you long enough to know whether you will or you won't. I bet on you.
I appreciate
but
that.
Some of those hits, like, one thing that Tsunami has worked out very well is because when things have gotten real bad and I might have felt weak or he felt weak, we had each other to kind of be like, yo, this is terrible.
Right.
And one of us is like, nah, we're going to be all right. So having people around you that can kind of pull you through that is going to be really important, because when you do something by yourself, those moments might really be like, forget it, I'll just go back to work.
Yeah.
I'll just go work
That's
wherever.
real.
It's tough. It's tough. So,
That's
I mean,
real.
if we could help out in that, any kind of like encouragement or talking to, bounce ideas back and forth. There's stuff that I was telling Matt, I really want to like bring her behind the scenes in terms of like some of the decisions we made financially and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Stuff that you might not be thinking about that we just learned recently. We've only been doing this for like 2 years. And one thing I told Matt a bunch of times, the example I give joking around but kind of serious is, I'm like, Donald Trump is not smarter than me. He's not more talented than me. I was like, but he had the right connections.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people successful. Like, you look at, you grab any name, it's like, it was really who they knew and who really mentored them.
Yeah.
And I've always said we would be way farther if we had a different network and maybe people like kind of like schooling us to what we should or shouldn't do. But I believe you go through the process the way you're supposed to, when you're supposed to, right? So I'm not upset about it, but I'm just like, man, where are the people to make the connection for us to really make sure we're not making so many mistakes?
Right.
So it's double-edged, because you learn best from your mistakes, but at the same time, we could avoid a lot of mistakes if there was somebody kind of a few steps ahead of us to say, I just came from there.
Right.
I get what it was 2 years ago when you were making those decisions. Make sure you put away this much money. Make sure you do this. So, I mean, hopefully as we grow together, we can help each other out that way, because it's tough sometimes.
Yeah. And you make a lot of great points. And I think a couple of things. One of the things I was thinking about too is, so I've actually tried to start my business a couple of times. This is like the solid third try, and everything is different this time around than it ever was the first 2 times. Even the way that I am structuring my business. So before, my bread and butter was more so like photography. So it was getting my foot in the door to take people's photos and then being like, oh, well, what do you need the photos for? Is it a business? Is it a brand? And then going from there and then realizing that like, hey, you have all the skills that you need to just start your business, have it be full service, work with people like you all who are the experts in what they do, and then you just be the point person. You be the front runner. You be the PR guru. And so this structure has worked well for me, but also because my strategy is different. And a big part of that strategy is networking and looking at what clients I'm bringing on, who I'm talking to, how I'm positioning myself and talking about my business and my services and what I'm offering. And I also have a lot of family and friends who have their own businesses, right? You all included. And so I've had these conversations over the years. I've kind of thought about what things have worked and didn't work. And I've seen people very close to me struggle with their own businesses. So it's like, okay, I've seen you be in a pit, and then like 2 weeks, a month, a year later, now I'm watching you flourish. And so when you have people who are already doing the types of things that you're looking to do, it's motivation, because you're like, all right, I see how this is going to go. It's going to be pits and valleys. You know what I mean? We're going to be on a mountain one day and then something will happen the next. But longevity, it's just like the stock market, right? Like you can't invest in something and then expect that it's going to be excellent immediately. It's going to take a little bit of time for things to grow. So, and it's like you said too, I definitely don't weigh on just myself. So I'm very big on my faith. And one of the things that I always say is like, I don't want anything I have to sustain on my own. So like, if I'm the one doing it, I'm going to mess it up every time. But I want my connections with people, with clients, the media, the whole nine to be like, okay, that wasn't me. You know what I mean? Because then it's like, I don't want responsibility for when it doesn't go right. And you can have the responsibility when it does go right. And so that's kind of like my motto. And it's just getting to a point where you're never too high and never too low. You're just happy in the middle.
I saw a meme that said if your dreams don't require God's help, your dreams aren't big enough.
They're not big enough.
I like that a lot.
They're not big enough. And I'm telling you, like opportunities that I've seen in the last couple of weeks since I launched officially have been bananas. And so it's just kind of like, okay, this is, like I said, this is a whole new rodeo show. And I'm excited. We are literally doing some amazing things and working with some great people. So you bet it on the right person.
There you go. Well, first impressions, I have a, I don't want to call it a superhero ability, but I'm going to call it this is my
very confident in.
Yes, I'm very, I feel like I'm a good vibe absorber. I guess
Energy.
Yeah, I'm a barometer for energy and people. And like, I feel like within, I'm a musician. And so it's like, I'll meet another musician, and within just a few seconds, I'm like, okay, that person can play, or they can't. Never heard him play. I'm like, you know what? They can play.
Right.
And usually 9 times out of 10, it's pretty accurate. And I feel like I do that with a lot of just people in general. And like the other day when I met you for the first time, Tony had talked very highly of you, of course, like he mentioned, and I was like, great, very cool. And within 2 minutes, I was like, oh yeah, she's got it going on. Oh, she's good. Oh, this is going to be a great relationship. We're going to help each other out. This is good.
It's funny because
command.
I worked at a restaurant before years back. Man, that feels like forever now, man. Like this is crazy. I'm about to be 35 this year.
Whoa.
Oh my God. That's the new title. Tony's going to be 35.
Yeah, I'm gonna be 35.
You're so young.
That's already
to the party, pal.
Nah, but like when I was at the restaurant, I was like general manager, and I would know like with really like the first 30 seconds whether that person was gonna get the job or not. Like it's just the way they walked in, the way they sat down.
Well, it's like you mentioned his interview in Norfolk. You just know.
You just know.
You know right away.
You just know.
You know, man.
And I literally told him, I said, listen, I don't know what's going to happen. You know, I don't know where you're going to go, but I'm telling you, I'm going to work with you one day.
Yeah, she did.
I literally told him that.
Wow.
And literally,
awesome.
I'm telling you, you got to speak it into existence. Like it happens.
No, I'm
really
a believer
does.
in that too.
Yeah.
If you start telling yourself, it might not. I don't know. It's going to be hard.
Yeah, this is trash.
Yeah,
It's going to be terrible.
You're not going to do it, man. You're not. I did that with my son recently. He was, it's something silly. He was trying to take the cap off a drink. He's about to be 5 years old this year.
Oh, wow.
He was trying to take the cap off, and he was like, I can't do it. And he was like, can you do it? I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. I was like, go ahead and twist it and say you can. He's like, huh? I was like, go ahead and twist it and say I can do it. I was like, why are you twisting and say I can do it? He's like, I can do it. I go, I did it. I did it. I was like, there you go. Like, stop telling me what you can't do. Like, just do it, man. Like,
yeah. Or I saw this commercial too. I think I just saw it on Will Smith's Instagram. It was like, if you either do it or do it scared. And I like that.
Hey.
Like, you're not always going to have the confidence, but like.
Dude, I show up to a shoot and we've done a million of them. I still get them butterflies.
But you know what my theory is around that? I honestly think that if you are about your craft, doesn't matter how many times you do something, if it's like what you're passionate about and you feel like that's your purpose, you're always going to have those butterflies.
Yeah. And I feel like the moment you stop having that, maybe something's a little off. You know what I mean?
There it is.
I was in the Marine Corps and I was a musician and I would play all over the world for dignitaries and high-ranking people. And I did it a million times, but every single time I got the butterflies, man. I feel sick. And I do it here with us too. It's like the day of a shoot. It's like I guess I'm not eating. I don't eat breakfast on those days.
Yeah,
I just don't eat.
Yeah.
I don't eat.
But that sensitivity is important, right? Because that's like it's something you're in tune to that I feel like it just brings something else to what you're doing.
Yeah.
People who don't have that,
Kind of hard to explain.
Yeah.
Kind of hard.
A little leery sometimes.
That's what works out with our dynamic though, because I'm like naturally shy and kind of like defensive. And when I walk into a room like that, it's like you don't know whether I'm nervous or not. Like I'm just I don't speak
You
to
have a
begin
good
with.
poker face.
Like
I'm over here. I'm like sweating. I'm like, oh God.
Me too. That's
Tony,
me.
I guess.
That's me.
So it's like yin and yang, dude. Me and Tony's stone cold. I'm like, wear it on the sleeve, dude. Like
we've had some wild meetings, man. We've had some stuff where it's
goodness.
just like we'll leave angry and you just don't show it. Some way we
Yeah.
leave nervous.
Yeah.
some days we'll leave
Scared, like
laughing.
what did we do? Like it's just
Yeah.
and it just works out the way it has to. There've been times where we're like, that went horribly. And then we go get a video from them. It's like, wow, okay,
You
like
just
great.
never
Like it's
know.
just
Right.
You honestly just never know. And it's so funny because like even just like today, for example, like this week I have been reaching out to the media to get some promotion around a client in a community event they're doing. And I have been like, okay, because reporters are hit or miss. They just are.
Oh, don't
and
ask
so
our opinion.
like you
Don't ask
you
our
have
opinion
to
on the local
it's like
news.
chess, right? Like you
Don't-
have to have the right pieces. It's got to be the right time, the right everything, subject line, information. And so, I was like, okay. And then I got to a point I was just like, I've reached out to everybody that I'm going to reach out to. I'm just going to have to let it go, see what happens. And then I had like 3 people call me back.
Hey,
right?
look at that.
So like you just don't
so
know.
you're taking it that far. So you're reaching out to actual media and stuff like that. And
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm talking
Full
about.
service, Tony.
that's great.
Full
That's
service.
public relations. That's what that is.
That's what that is.
A big part is dealing with the media. From
It
the little
is.
I know,
Well, yeah, so that's a good segue too, right? So PR, because I feel like this is always important to clarify. Marketing and PR are different. And what I'm finding in the industry is a lot of people are thinking they're similar. They are in terms of like certain things, but then like they're not. They're very specific. You have people now who feel like they can do both, and you'll see companies try to combine those positions a lot. Doesn't necessarily mean that it should be done.
Sure.
So like I like to tell my clients, I am very big on earned media, which is essentially I'm going to get you publicity off of the great work that we do together. So if let's say we do a video together and we push it out, a reporter, somebody sees it, we want to do a story on that, right? That's earned media.
That's interesting.
Compared to
That's very
like,
interesting. Look
let's
at
go,
that.
let's go buy an ad and like see,
Y'all taking notes?
right? This is freebies right here.
This is the information you come here for, man. Let's go.
Right.
Okay, and onward.
Instead of like, let's buy an ad or let's buy a billboard, that's not earned media. So that's the opposite, right? That's more of the marketing side. So marketing is like, how do we take our dollars and get your product, whatever, into the hands of whoever you're trying to get it to, right? So marketing is all about like the Super Bowl ads and all that stuff and having the right person see it at the right time. My job is to make sure that your brand is actually saying what you want it to say. So for example, what does Tsunami Digital Media stand for? What would you feel like is your brand?
Telling stories.
Yeah.
Telling stories. So my job is to make sure that reads through regardless of what you all do.
Whatever it is.
Whether
Whatever
it's your
content.
podcast, whoever you're working with, from your font to your colors and your logo, all those things is about positioning and image. So, it's great if you all think that you're great, but if other people don't think that you're great,
That's
then
an
it
issue.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If they think that you're great. So
That's a really good point.
I'm managing perception.
And
I'm
she's
laughing
just
'cause
dropping
you like
it, dude.
nailing
She's
it,
just
man.
she's just dropping these dimes, man. That's exactly what it is, man.
And the way you frame it is much better than we've heard it framed. From
No, that
others.
was perfect.
See, and the thing is though, I know you professionally, and I know that it's not just like snake oil. You know what I mean? Like you didn't go read some Google post. Like you get it, you know it in and out.
You gotta know it.
Well, and it's an art form too, what you do. Like you gotta be able to produce. It's a skill set.
I'm excited. You sold me on it.
Yeah, no, that's right. And cut.
It's like,
See you next week, ladies and gentlemen.
Podcast is over.
That is it, dude. That is
no.
it.
This is that's man.
That's awesome.
But
So
that's why
what's-
it's important to think about who you work with, right?
No,
because
it-
if I'm
it is
bringing
very,
the best
very
out of
important.
you, I have to make sure the best is already in you, right? And you'll have clients who you'll be like, you may not have it all together right now, but we can create something great together.
You have something there.
Right. As
know what I
opposed
mean?
to working with a client who and you all will know this very well, it's just kind of like, okay, this may not be the one for us, right? And thinking about who
It's
you're
taken a little
working
while
with.
for us to kind of get there. You know what I mean? Like we know ourselves now. We know kind of where we fit in.
Yeah.
We know who we can tell right away after that first meeting. We're like, they probably won't be a repeat.
Yeah.
Or maybe not that. That sounds a little harsh. I just.
Well, no,
I
you
know
can
what you're
tell.
saying,
You
though.
can
You have
can
to
tell
protect
when
your
they,
brand too.
yeah, because a lot of times what we run into is part of the growth of the company is I think we want to get to a point where we're not necessarily trying to sell the service, where we want to reach people that already know they need this.
Right.
Like that we're not constantly trying to explain to you why a video matters.
Is important.
Like we want to find the people, or they find us, that they already know they know they need a video. They get that. Now they're just shopping around for who's the best person to do my video.
Yeah.
That's where we want to get to, because a lot of times, especially when we first started, we were fighting multiple battles where it's like, first we need to get your attention somehow, and we didn't have a huge reel. We had a few things that were nice, but we don't have the portfolio we have now. So when we started, it was a whole lot of, hey, did you ever even think about having a video? I was like, no. Okay, well, let's show you a few examples and explain to you why video matters. And people would be like, nah, video doesn't matter.
Right.
I can just get memes from online for free, or I can do it with my phone. And we spent a lot of time chasing people, explaining to them why video matters. And eventually, as the company grows, we'll get to the point where it's like, you already know why video matters. Let us know when you're ready to shoot.
Right? Because like with people feeling like they can do it all already, it doesn't matter. Like you said, video on your phone, photography. You can even have people that be like, I can boost my own post on social media. Why do I need a...
And you can do a lot visually here. You can do a lot, and you should be doing a lot with this. This is a very powerful tool.
Yeah.
That, hey, if you own a business, or you have a brand, or you have anything going on, you need to be using this. I think that's where we've kind of grown as well as a company. We don't want to be doing the content that you can do here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can do that. You can do that. We want to do the stuff that you can't do.
Right.
You know
and
what I
that's
mean?
what's important. And that's what's important. And I think that people, and there's certain things too that you just can't cut corners on.
Right.
There's certain things that you just need to invest
Well, you can,
in order to get it right. It just won't be the best product.
It's gonna fail.
And so I agree with you on that though. Is early on, a lot of what I was finding was like, I don't know if I need a person to help me, like, craft my brand image or my story or whatever. And it's like, okay, cool. You know what I mean? And you'll have people who catch on fire just from doing their own thing. You see social media influencers pop up all the time, but it's not very common, not as common as it feels like sometimes.
Agreed.
And it's good to always have the professionals just handle the work.
Well, I guess what we have to try to find when we go talk to people is, we have to try to create acceleration that they wouldn't have by themselves. Because by themselves, you can, right? You can do the grind and do your 5 years of going on social media and building your audience. But where you hire the professionals for management and for content creation is like, we can accelerate that. We can help cut some of that grind from 5 years, maybe to 2 years or something.
Right.
It's not going to be one video. See, we ran into that sometimes
This
too.
happens all the time.
People would be like, let me get one video. They'll put the video once on social media, let it die out there, and then just be like, well, video doesn't work.
Well, in the video,
get a million subscribers off of one video, like
encompass too much.
Like
one video to rule them all, and it's like that's not that's not the strategy these days. You want to keep it short, keep it simple, have a point, get to it, and get out.
Exactly.
This whole day of I want to accomplish everything in one video.
Yeah, I want to introduce my whole staff. I want to show my entire offering, of everything I sell, everything I've done, tell my story of how I started. It's like, first of all, we can try to rush that in a minute or two, but we kind of already hear what you're trying to accomplish. Like you don't want to do the long-term growth. Like you just want one thing, like
authentic.
And it's not the way it works, right? Like it doesn't matter how great that video is. It could have been the best one you ever saw, but if you just put that content out there to die,
you have to have a sustainable process.
Yeah, it's got to be repeat. And we try to structure stuff that way. Like, your mindset of trying to get people kind of on a more long-term basis is funny because that's one thing that I sat back when you mentioned, you were trying to do stuff like on a more longer term agreement instead of just like, hey, let me do a post for you or let me do like one campaign for you or whatever. I told Matt, I was like, that's the part that I'm iffy on because we've tried that so many times.
Yeah.
You nailed it. I don't know how. We'll talk about that off camera.
Yeah. But we're gonna pick that brain.
But when you mentioned that, I was like, she's got the right idea. But I don't see it, man. I was like, how many times did we try that? Did we tell people, let's get you on a 6-month package or whatever, like try to do
so
that.
that you can have consistent content coming out of high quality every month. Nice produced videos, et cetera, et cetera. It's been tough for us.
It's been tough.
It's been tough.
We got quite a few repeat clients, but the whole pitch, like the pitch that you explained to us, we haven't nailed that yet. So you school us on how to do that later.
Okay,
like,
I will.
That's not free. That
ain't free. You can't give away everything for free. You can give a lot of it, but
I'm just joking.
Yeah. No, but I hear what you're saying, and it's all back to what you said. Finding the right people who recognize the value in having a process, a sustainable process, and not being about a one and done, but more so like let's build, let's grow together. We could talk.
Yeah, and I think though people don't realize the value that you bring in that sort of situation because when you put out a video and let it die, it's because you don't have a person there sitting there, engaging with your social media community that doesn't know when to upload.
There's no strategy behind it.
Right.
They don't even know how to upload it properly a lot of times. Like, and it's part of learning and stuff like that. But sometimes people will take a piece of content and upload it like just, you got it cropped in or whatever. And there's certain steps that you got to be schooled on a little bit. Like if you don't use Instagram regularly, you wouldn't know that you could select a thumbnail and kind of help boost the visibility. So there's some things that like a person like you would obviously definitely come in and help them. But it's really identifying the ones that are ready and they get that they need this stuff. And it's funny for us, it's kind of like a sensitive subject because we really like working with people that are like on the ground level, like they're starting their business. We started doing businesses. The first stuff we did was barbershop
videos, baby. That's
and it was like mom and pop places, and we loved that, and we love helping because it felt
and we
real
still
rewarding.
Do that.
Yeah, like we like going after the mom and pops and stuff like that, like the lower level. That's not a big corporation, because we're still growing. And both of us have a heart to really help. Like we see this eventually becoming like an educational platform where we can go to schools and help kids, like young entrepreneurs, and do like art classes and photography classes and stuff like that. Like that's what we see like in the near future for us. Like we want to be able to partner with schools and do stuff like that. So with businesses that are starting out, we love that. The downside to that, unfortunately, is a lot of times they're just not sure if because of budget reasons or whatever, they're just not sure if this is for them. So we reach out to them, we work with the most we can, but like I said, as the business grows, we'll find the way to identify these people quickly, who's ready to rock. And hopefully we create opportunities to have employees here, and then Matt and I could go chase the more philanthropic things that we want to do.
The other part of that too is sometimes all you need is one person. And I've learned that too, is if I have one person who fits the buckets that I'm looking for, 9 times out of 10, they're connected to other people who fit those same buckets.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
So
that's how we've been able to grow for the most part.
Yeah, it'll be that domino effect. And I mean, you all have I was literally just telling somebody this the other day. You all's videos are incredible. Like literally, I was so blown away when I first saw Tony do his first edit of I want to say it was the Lime Scooters. That may not have been the first thing you did.
Yeah, that was a softball. That was,
but it was.
Yeah, but that was like one of the first.
But I was like, but nobody in Norfolk was doing that though. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't with the graphics and me and Tony were like, yo, this dude,
some fancy camera work.
This guy, right? But like the beauty of it is you all are in this sweet spot of like you're like the gold that has not quite yet been found, and it's like it's gonna. I'm telling you. When it blows up, though,
we're getting there. We're getting there.
We're ready.
It's been a good year for us.
You have to celebrate the small wins. That's another thing too.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
dude.
Celebrate the small wins, and you all are already doing like some amazing work.
Thank you.
I'm very big on like partnership and who I work with. So again, for me to like identify off the bat, like Tony, we're working together. I didn't even have questions about you or like how our working relationship would be because I was like, Tony's already dope. So it's gonna happen, absolutely. And again, maybe through this partnership, you know what I'm saying? We'll just blow up together.
Let's go.
That'd be great. That's all it is. It took me. I mean, how long have you been trying to do business by yourself? Like really recently, right? Like
the last 3 years.
Okay, because I was trying to do it for maybe. I want to say like maybe 8 years, something like that. It's been a while. And it took me forever. It took me up until like 6 months before meeting Matt again. Like, because we went to school together when we were like 13 years old or something like that.
Yeah, middle school.
High school took us separate ways. He went to the Marines. I fooled around in Virginia Beach and did nothing with my life while he was out there being productive and defending the nation.
So how much defending I did.
But but anyway, he was more productive. But anyway, the point is we our paths separated and we got back together, right? While our paths were separated for different reasons, that I got incredibly jaded and negative and stuff like that. And I felt like the only way I was going to be successful was me by myself. And it even became a point of pride where it was like, if I need somebody else, then I ain't as good as I think I am. And that like for a long time, I felt like I got to be the guy shooting, editing, running the business, cutting the paychecks, doing everything. I got to do it all because I'm going to kill this by myself. And it took just a lot of life experiences and just, and getting fired from a job changed me and made me change my perspective. Losing friends, the figuratively losing relationships and people actually passing away. Just different things affected me. To the point where I was like, nah, you need people around you. You're going to have to lean on somebody every now and then.
And you can do more. You can go higher.
And I came to terms with, I think one of the biggest things was when I finally just accepted my flaws and just like, I don't have to pretend I'm perfect. I don't have to pretend I'm the strongest person in the room every single time. And I would tell my wife, I'm like, I know where my strengths are. I know I could walk into a room and negotiate a contract and explain to people pretty clearly the way things, are going to go and why. Like, those are my strengths. Business management is one of like my big strengths. And I would tell Joyce, my wife, all the time, I was like, but where I'm weak is I can't walk into a room and just grab that room and do the whole like, hey guys, was like, I can't do it. I can't even like force it. Like the way like Matt has a way of walking into a room and it's like immediately super positive, grabbing everybody's attention and making you feel comfortable.
Right.
I'm great at explaining to you the tough stuff.
Right.
Like I got no problem at all, just telling people, hey, this is what the cost is going to be, whatever, like, and laying stuff out clearly. And I had told my wife, I was like, I need that, because until I find a partner that can help be the mouthpiece of the business, I'm not going to be able to break through. Like I need somebody that can walk in and smile and do that, like the simple things. It's like, I can't see it. So yeah, you need people around you. You got to trust yourself and just be okay with your weaknesses. It doesn't make you a lesser of a person.
Exactly. And I have an awesome business partner. So I'm not a one-man band. I'm very much kind of like the face and the brand. I mean, the company is my name. But like I definitely am I'm grateful to have her on board, because I think that she's made the difference in my success this time around. Having somebody who thinks a little bit differently than you do, who can say, well, maybe you should think about doing this, or has those connections and that networking ability for you to meet people that you otherwise would not have. It's like you said, like I can do this stuff and I'm good with clients and the game plan and yada, yada. And then she'll ask me one question. I'd be like, I didn't quite think of that one.
Yeah.
And so it's good to have those people around you who can kind of challenge you and keep steering you, because it's important. So I'm glad that you pivoted from that.
Yeah, no, you got to have people around you that are better than you in different things. Can't be intimidated by it all the time. Like
you got to embrace that.
You're not going to grow, man. And the relationship I have with Matt, like besides the long time we've known each other, but just when you go through rough stuff like we have in business and just even family stuff and friend stuff, like, life just punches you in the face, and it's like when you get to the point where you could tell each other, hey, that was wrong. Like, I don't agree with that. Hey, you that was disrespectful. I didn't like that or whatever. Like when you get there, you grow. Like the bond gets so tight.
It gets stronger.
It's like you can tell. Like it's funny. Like there's certain people you could joke with just rougher. And there's certain people that you could just say like, hey, stop that was messed up. Like, what are you, nuts? Why would you do that?
Right.
And it just takes a deep bond. Like it takes like my blood brother.
And
like
business will test you.
Yeah.
Yes, it will.
Money tests you, business tests you, like showing up on time. Like do you have the same ethic, the way you came dressed to that shoot, different things. Like it takes a lot of time to get acclimated. But me and him, kind of like right off the bat, it's been very easy. Like very few friction points ever. Like and things will happen. We've had disagreements. We've had moments where we both felt hurt by different decisions and things we've said. But that's just part of growing and part of two people coming together. Like but the best thing is our goals have always been pretty much the same. Always like we might have been disagreed on something, or might have had a misunderstanding of the way something was said, but the goal has always been the same thing. It's been first, we want to provide for our families first, but the big dream is going to be to provide opportunities for everybody else.
Right.
Like to me, paying my own bills is not enough. I can go do that at McDonald's. I've said that to a bunch of people. Like, if having Tsunami be successful means just paying my bills, then I'll just go do that at McDonald's. Like, I'll go do that anywhere else. I can go make.
That's so true.
I was when I worked at the restaurant, I was getting like $18 an hour. I went and got a home, and I had enough to just live. Yeah, that's fine. I can go do that. But I want to have people here loving their passion, doing their art and stuff like that. And they came and did it at Tsunami, and then I'll feel like I made it.
And that's so important. And that I think that is I don't know that it is outside of it's not coincidence that I picked this particular time to be like, I'm going to really do it this time. Because look at how everything is going on around us in the world, right? And so for me, it was like my motivation this time wasn't even me. It was like, I want to start creating a space where people find opportunity and they're not having to sacrifice their integrity or their morals or things of that nature to work with somebody who I don't really know if their dealings are right or whatever the case may be. It was just an opportunity. Like if you don't see something out there that you would want to be a part of, then create it. And that's what I love about you guys is you all are creating that space. You know what I mean? And so, and I think that's what sets you apart. Businesses who are just trying to make money, I think that comes across very clearly, as opposed to businesses that are in it for different reasons. They want to kind of leave a mark.
Well, you said it when we first started talking about your boutique, mentality and really you enjoy helping people.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we do is what we, at least I feel that way. We're trying to help you.
Yeah.
We love to make videos, of course, It's a passion. It's
and
art.
what we do is very service oriented. I find too. Like it may not seem that way, but we're background people.
No,
like
no,
I'm
for
making
sure.
other people look good.
Absolutely, and that makes me happy. Like
Exactly.
when one of our videos gets a lot of traction, and whoever we made it for loves it and just texts us out of the blue, "Hey man, I just wanted to say, man, it was so much fun."
Right.
That is why I get off on that, man. I love that.
Absolutely.
I just love that, and that's the goal, right? It's like every time we do any kind of project, that's the goal. We're trying
Keep the
to
client
make you
happy.
excited, keep them happy, and help their business.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Even in simple terms, like even if you took out the passion of it, which we never could do that.
Never.
But if you thought about it just in business terms, the success of our business depends on the success of everybody else.
Absolutely.
So you have no choice but to care about how their business
That's
looks
so
and
true.
how well they do.
Absolutely.
If
If we're not doing
you
a
got no
job-
videos to do. They shut
Yeah.
the shop down. So what do you do now?
Why are we
Like,
paying these guys? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
for our
who's-
vanity.
That is
Yeah,
so
no.
true.
whose image are you going to manage if they shut the doors down? So
is
it's
so,
like
so true.
they have to win, and you have to be invested in seeing them win. So it's funny. Like we're so invested. Like it's I won't get crazy into detail, but we've had people tell us that, like, you know, oh, your prices are too low and stuff like that. Because we don't go in there with the mindset of like, let me see how much I can milk out of each person. Like,
Yeah,
it's
I've
not
had
the
that too.
mindset. It's not just, we've had people tell us like, for the stuff you do and the way you do it, you should be charging way more. Like, well, one day we will. You know,
Yeah,
one day
and
we'll
it's
get
the same thing. And I'm of the, like, literally, I had client meetings today where I was like, so what's your budget? And they're almost just kind of like, I'm waiting for you to, and I'm like, I could give you numbers.
We learned that a long time
But
ago.
it's like-
Nobody's telling you their budget, Malaika.
See, and listen.
Most
and
people
so
won't. Most people
they'll just
won't.
be like, well, I'm not going to say anything. But
No, of
for
course
me, it's kind of like a similar scenario where it's like, you know, people out the wahoo would charge thousands of dollars for some of what I'm doing. But for me, it's just kind of like you said, I am not really looking to pimp my clients out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to get to a point where I am going to, you know, get compensation that meets the effort and level of quality of work and things that I
yeah,
do.
sure.
But like in this process, I want to see my clients do well. And I always tell them, like, I'm here to meet you in the middle. So, you know, if you're passionate, if you're serious, in my mind, I'm like, we're just going to both grow and build together. And so to me, that's better than having somebody, you know, give you a bunch of money, but like you're questioning whether they want it or whether or not they are really about their business the way that you want to be about their business. So it's, you know, money is a very interesting thing. It really, really
Yeah,
is.
because you get it. I mean, you need it, but like I say, I need it. It don't matter to me though. Like I take it or leave it. Like especially like I said, when I got fired and we almost lost our house and everything. It's like, man, we didn't, thank God. But when you go through that, I'm like, so I'm gonna lose money if I launch a
just realize
business.
what
We try to do a
matters.
business. You lose
You
money.
realize
So
what
what?
matters.
I've had no money before, and I was fine. I
And my
figured
thing
it out.
about money is just opportunity, right? Like if you really think about it,
Yeah.
are you really trying to be a millionaire or are you just looking for opportunity? And opportunity is like, I want to be able to take a nice vacation with my family.
Yeah, I want to be
right?
able to
Or-
go and eat here and not
Exactly.
have to worry about it.
Want to be able to have the option to do something as you please, right? Without there being a barrier or something preventing you from being able to enjoy that moment or that experience. That's to me what I make my money for.
Yeah,
is
there's
to
a
have
quality of life that you're
experiences.
trying to achieve. And
Yeah. You know what I mean? So like you said.
That's
it comes
part of the
and
reason
goes,
we
but-
started a business too. I told Matt, I was like, at 35, there's some questions I'm not gonna have anymore. Like some conversations I'm not gonna have anymore.
yeah, with like bosses, quote
It's like,
unquote.
it's not even trying to be arrogant. It's just, I feel like I've gotten to a stage in life where it's like, I'm not going to have to explain to somebody,
know
can I
your
please take the
value.
day off because my kid's sick?
And I don't
Yeah.
want
And for a
please don't
boss
get
to
in
tell
trouble,
me,
like, ooh.
nah, you got to come in anyway.
And
I'm
look
not
at how
having
the
that
world has
anymore.
pivoted now, right?
that crazy?
Again, back to the pivot. So before it was like, no, you can't work from home because, you know, the client is going to feel X, Y, and Z about not seeing you every day or whatever the case may be. Now we're working from home and it's almost like the world is running more efficiently in some ways because you're cutting out some of the extra time that people are then having to take off or having to leave and do different things. And you're kind of forcing people to, in some scenarios, choose between like their personal lives and their work. And while it is a little bit unfortunate that during these times, some of us can sometimes like never turn our work off. Like you just get into the mode of working all the time.
That's a business owner right there.
It's still like, it's still just not having to get up and go into a physical place every day just for the sake of going.
Yeah.
There's something freeing about that.
Yeah,
Right.
And it's affected different industries, you know, in different
Yes,
ways. But
in different ways.
Yeah,
Because it hasn't
man.
been great for everybody. I will
for
acknowledge
sure,
that
yeah,
for
no,
sure.
definitely. But yeah, no, we joke about it all the time. It's like, you know, what are you going to tell these people now who's been doing a great job? The you know, the product has not changed. And they've been doing it from home.
Yeah.
Well,
you need to come to the office. You need to be here
the,
for 8 hours.
That's the part
I need
too,
to see
though.
you sitting there, and it's this control thing, man.
It is. It's all about control. But the other part of that too is this is a perfect time for businesses like ours to then slide in and say, "Have you thought about doing things this way?" Because now everybody's looking for a new way to promote their business, to get their brand out there, and being that most of us are now virtual, it only drives the demand up for things like what you all are offering, and drives the demand up for people who are like, okay, I really want to like get my brand out there.
Well, we've had businesses contact us in the last couple months with doing a lot more of what we do because they can't physically go and do some things, so we want to do it virtually. You know, virtually. I guess that's the buzzword, virtual everything. But just doing some digital media. You know what I mean?
Well, the secret for them hasn't got out yet, but I've said it before. Like, I bet you there's a lot of people that would take a pay cut to work from home. A lot of these corporations don't even get that. They're not even thinking that way. And I feel like you want to save millions a year, offer somebody 50 cents, less than what they're getting paid now to work from home.
And they'll do it.
And they'll do it quick.
They'll do it, dude.
So a lot of these
people. Now, a lot of people, you say the opposite. A lot of people are like, I can't stand this. I can't wait to.
I gotta get out of the house.
I gotta go to the office. I enjoy the office. I get away. I don't have to.
Well, those weirdos can go back to the office.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they should have that choice.
You can go back.
Take your ass on back there.
Go back to the office. What are we talking about? Like, don't force it on me. Like, that's an old way of thinking. Because if you don't see that this is going to be the future anyway, there's nothing you can do to fight it. Come on. I think most work is going to be virtual. Unless you're like in a food service industry, unless you're manufacturing stuff that you got to be out there, what's the point of answering phones and being at a desk? Like,
it is
to be honest.
Come on, man.
It's just the old way of thinking that's going to go away. And there's a lot of ways, dude. You can go down to even the HR list of how this is beneficial. You got less opportunities for accidents happening at work and stuff like that. And then you get sued, and then you're caught up in this whole disability payments and stuff like that. You got less employee conflict. You're not sitting next to somebody that you're arguing with, and then you got managers getting involved and doing this whole thing. Like, there's so many pluses to just let them work from home.
Yeah.
And they get the job done whenever they need to get it done. Matt and I talked about the way Tsunami would be one day is we don't see it being a 9-to-5 thing where it's like you got to be here 9 to 5. Right. No. It's going to be kind of like remember Deadpool had the list of people you got to kill or whatever?
Yes, the Deadpool.
It's like there's going to be a list of people you got to kill. Yeah, it's going to be a list of shoots you got to go kill.
And by this date, you need to get it done.
And that's it. And it's not going to be like, hey, we're here 9 to 5. No, the shoot is next week. Be there at that shoot at that time. Yeah. Have it edited by this date.
We want to look at it.
You want to do it at 2 in the morning, from 2 in the morning to 5 in the morning because you're playing video games all day. That's your business.
Right.
It just has to be done by this
date. Get the mission accomplished, man.
I like that.
That's the way I want to see it.
I like that.
None of this whole.
You get people happier that way, man. You get people more productivity, better morale. In certain circumstances.
I agree wholeheartedly.
So
how did you all find like this is me picking your brains as a PR person.
Yeah, come on.
How did you all like figure out, or have you figured out like your sweet spot in terms of like industries or types of businesses that you all traditionally work with? I'm just curious.
What would you say our niche would be?
It's funny. We talked about it recently. So I think what we carved into is just small businesses. Okay. Or just businesses in general, right? So ideally, if we had our choice of doing whatever we wanted with our time, if Tsunami had 20 employees doing whatever, Matt and I would be shooting movies. We'd be shooting documentaries. We'd be going to Africa and getting the lions and stuff, and with a crew like that, or we'll go shoot a movie in LA with whole production teams, and we're directing and stuff like that. Yeah, that's narrative driven work. Would be if we had whatever, right? Like to do whatever. Yeah, going out to do like The Last Dance was and stuff like that, like Michael Jordan, Sting, and just that sort of thing. But Tsunami, I think it really is. How did I put it the other day? I think it's like we create marketing content. Like Tsunami Digital Media really is like a marketing support arm. Okay. It's really what we ended up doing. We realized that over and over. Because those are the people that need us. Because we were doing weddings, we do real estate, we do a lot of, we dabble in a lot of things, but the bulk of the work has now kind of funneled towards people that spend the money on a video expecting to see it back. That video has to generate, I had to find some kind of way to show that, if I invested whatever amount of money, I got this much out of that, that campaign or whatever. And we found that that's the videos we ended up doing more and more and more. It's not so much going after the weddings where that's kind of a memory piece or whatever. Like I kind of trivialize it and say like a vanity piece. Like some people want to do their own photo shoot for their own self or whatever. Right. But really the stuff that really we've been ending up being the most lucrative in, it has been businesses that just need stuff like that. So Training is another avenue that's been really good for us too.
Yes.
Training content,
big time.
But the way the way I kind of simplify it is really we do marketing support. What does your marketing team say you need? You guys sat down and said we need videos. That's where we step in.
Gotcha.
And we kind of help you where we kind of assist. You know, we're not the marketing professionals, but we know enough to kind of stop you if you say I want an Instagram video. Let me get a 3-minute Instagram video. It's like it should really be like at about a minute, like, and you really should be trying to hit these points in that minute or whatever. But that's really what we've been fitting in. Really, is like people that know they need marketing content, and we just come and support that.
Yeah. And I ask that because what I've been finding too is like, you start by just taking on clients, whoever they are, and then you start to kind of see a trend, and you're like, so it goes from like this to then just kind of leveling out.
Absolutely,
and then you're like,
you find where you fit, and that's kind of where we've ended up.
Yeah, so like marketing content and training. Hopefully we do more of that because that's something
we enjoy doing that, dude. It's taking the old school 1980s training videos and updating them to make them more exciting.
Oh my gosh.
And more efficient.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? More efficient.
And it's tough because what we've found, and I'll try to phrase this delicately somehow. There's an older.
We'll just censor you, dude. Don't worry. Just let it out.
No, there's an older generation and an older way of thinking in terms of the management side of things, right? And we are still trying to break through certain barriers of people. Like it's been done this way for the last 50 years.
Why will we change it?
Why do I need a video when the way we've done it for the longest is sitting somebody down and telling them the way it's done, and that's it. And we have to try to explain to people. Listen, people learn a number of different ways. Some hands-on, some need to watch, some need to read it. So offer every avenue you can, and that's where we kind of help in with that. And the marketing is the same way. I try to do marketing stuff for a previous employer, and that's kind of where I started with the camera I have now. I got that camera to help them with some marketing stuff. And when I was pitching the idea of making a video to help market their products, what the boss told me at the time, he was like, well, nobody's watching videos to buy our product. But then 2 weeks later, we had a meeting, and they were arguing about wanting to buy billboard space at Harbor Park. Yeah. And I'm like, well, who's going to Harbor Park trying to buy your product? Like, you guys don't it's kind of like you understand it, but you're so stuck in your ways.
There.
Right.
Like, you get the idea of advertising. You understand that. But
people who go to baseball games do other things too.
Right. Like Steel, the chainsaw company advertises at Harbor Park not because I go to Harbor Park to buy a chainsaw, but people that buy chainsaws go to Harbor Park.
Exactly.
That's why you advertise. And I had explained that to them
people that don't
over
believe
and
in
over.
social media marketing. They're like, well, I Facebook and Instagram. Like, well, hey, look, your clients spend most of their day going like this.
Yeah, it's like
they're right there. They're there.
We heard that. A company told us, nobody's going to Facebook to buy our stuff. It's like, but people that buy your stuff are on Facebook every day. Every day. That is just the basic understanding of advertising. And these are the same people that in the same breath will tell you, oh, we're going to pay for a subscription to get mailers thrown in the mail. And that's how we're going to canvas a neighborhood or whatever. It's like
times are changing.
You're literally saying the same thing we're saying.
You can save money doing it this way.
Exactly. And we're like, we're just doing it digitally. That's all we're doing. And you know what we would tell people too, and you understand this, we're preaching to the choir right here. But it's like when you do it digitally, you can measure your effectiveness.
The tools that are available to you now is crazy.
If I go pay, $10,000 for a canvassing, package where it's like, I'm going to get this whole neighborhood and they're going to put that envelope with 30 different flyers in there. Mine's going to be in there. You can't tell me. There's no way you could tell me how many people saw it or read it or even opened that envelope.
You're right.
But I could tell you how many people saw your video.
And how long they stayed on that video and their click-through rate and whether they went to your website.
Yeah.
And it's so different.
Or liked or commented.
From years ago too. Because traditionally PR is one of the hardest industries to measure. Like, how do you measure whether or not I'm helping your business grow or whether or not I'm doing my job effectively, right? Like, you really have to know those nuances like that. Like, where do you go to gauge certain things? How are you measuring, your return on investment? And so sometimes people just don't understand that. And for some reason, it's easier to buy the billboard or to kind of do the bigger, flashier thing. But I always tell people, just because you have the opportunity for everybody to see a piece of content doesn't mean you are making a piece of content for everybody.
Right.
Those are very different things.
Yeah, it's a really, really good point. And that's one of the first things we ask somebody. It's like, okay, well, who's your audience?
Exactly.
Where are we going to deploy this?
That's always
because that really is going to craft
who is this for?
How we're going to approach production.
And you can go even further, right? So if you think about Steel again, if you're thinking about, like you said, why do they have a billboard at Harbor Park, right? Baseball, traditionally a lot of men who like to traditionally build things, do things, all these different things. And so it's the same way. Like when I work with a client, I'm like, think about who your target audience is. And then I literally build like a persona around that. And so anytime they're then doing something, it's like, think about this person. This is who you're trying to reach.
Think about your brand. What is that? What are we trying to accomplish?
Exactly.
And to who?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, shoot.
This has been great, Malaika.
It's been fantastic.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, you guys are my first podcast. So
Hey,
I'm super excited that it was with you.
How often are you gonna be down here? Like, you gonna?
So it kind of depends. It
like,
honestly
how many
just
hours
depends
is it
on
to get out there to DC?
About 4?
It's like
3.5 if you moving like Malaika does when she's speeding.
More
and I'm
so
just-
traffic.
That's traffic.
Traffic
Dude,
is the kicker.
When I lived in DC, I was stationed in DC, and it was like Friday nights, and I wanted to go home, like south of Virginia Beach. It was like, you better reserve
Like
about
leave
5-6
at midnight
hours.
or
No,
leave
yes,
at like
I
4
would
in
wait
the
until
morning.
about midnight.
Yeah, but it just depends on the demand. And
Well, hopefully, we'll be seeing a lot more of you.
yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal.
Well, and a lot of it you won't have to be in person. You just tell us where it's at, and we'll go do it.
So hey,
Call up the
Tsunami,
shooters.
here's the mission.
That's it.
Let me
Go
call the
get it.
shooters.
That's
Go
what we
get
joke
'em.
about. Respect the shooter.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, thanks
I appreciate
again.
it. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
We're
Rock
gonna
and
do a
roll.
COVID fist bump. So I don't know if you've seen the podcast before, but we always sign off this way. So he's gonna go. He's Matt. I'm gonna say I'm Tony. You gonna say I'm Malaika, and then we're gonna do a bump.
Here we go.
Okay.
I'm Matt,
I'm Tony.
I'm Malaika.
and this is the Tsunami Podcast.
Hey.
Oh, we're doing the fist. All right, I thought we was gonna do the COVID. All right, whatever.
Always messing
We
up.
out.
Always messing up.
We can be friends if you wanna. We could just talk if you wanna. We could hold hands if you wanna. Hey, tell me what you wanna do.